How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Cut out the jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. I'm glad you're all tuning in from continents around the world. Continents unknown, unnamed. Folks, we've got some interesting stuff going on in Washington. They're doing everything they can to try and hide what's going on. It is time to impeach the Bidens. It's time to impeach all of them. I mean, let's get Joe out first, right? But the rest of them as well. Senator Chuck Grassley came out today and released a document showing that Joe Biden was involved in a $5 million bribery scheme with Burisma executive. And Biden squeezed him for $5 million. I'm tired of this slow rolling of information out. Seems like Chuck Grassley has something new every week. That's great. Why not put it all out right now on the table so we can see a huge stack instead of just feeding people so they become, that's right, folks, immune to it. They're like, yeah, yawn. Oh, it was 10 million last week. Who cares? 5, whatever. Put it all up or shut up on this is what I say. In fact, another news company came out and said, no, it wasn't 5 million. It was $10 million. That was the bribe. And apparently the Burisma boss said Hunter is, quote, dumber than his dog. The solution to all this is impeaching Biden now, right? This is what we got to do. Call your congressman and tell him, impeach Biden now. Type an email to your congressman in Washington, D.C. and impeach Biden now. Text on your phone to your congressman's office. Talk to your congressman's office. Impeach Biden now. That fixes this. It fixes a lot of problems, folks. If we're worried about who the replacement for dipshit is, Biden, it can't be any worse. I know Kamala Harris is a total hoe, and she's dumber than a box of rocks, which is dumber than a dog. But I don't think she could make worse decisions because Biden has made every single decision down the line as the absolute worst. Hey, Michael Brown, I want to thank you for a 762 super chat during the week donation. Thank you very much, Michael Brown. Send it into to the CashApp. Let's see, we do PayPal, CashApp, Venmo, as well as super chats and all kinds of other things. Everything makes this channel roll, folks. Thank you very much, Michael. I expect there will be a question from you today, and I hope you're well, man. I hope you are. We've got a lot going on, folks. No more slow rolling. Let's just impeach these sons of bitches. Now, Kissinger. You guys remember Kissinger? We are in control here is the White House. That guy. He's, what is he, 93 or 103? Kissinger is still alive. Remember, folks, Henry Kissinger. I think he was Secretary of State under Nixon. He's the one that opened up China to the U.S. and to Europe to do business way back in the early 1970s. That's right, 50 freaking years ago. Kissinger was doing what Kissinger does. Now, he went over there to China. And Xi, that is in, chairman of the Communist Party, the CCP, Xi Jinping, he told Kissinger, quote, stability is the word, with the United States and China is possible. It's still possible, but they're at a crossroads. There is an interesting crossroad that we're all at, China and the U.S. the US and Europe, the US and Russia, the US government in Washington and its own people, or rather the people it's supposed to serve, we're all at a crossroad with these morons. So Chinese politician Wang says this during his meeting with Mr. Kissinger. He gave him a message that apparently Beijing has some concerns over American policy towards China. And he said this: trying to transform China is impossible, and blocking and containing China is even more impossible. That's according to China's translation. And then another Chinese politician named Li, he said some people in the US, right? That's who he's blaming. Some people in the United States, because they have failed to meet China halfway. I'd like to know how you meet someone halfway when they say that transforming, blocking, or containing them is impossible. Sounds like China wants its way all the way every day. So what's it going to be, China? Is it going to be World War III unless we kiss your asses? Or until Biden sells us out for 10% of the overall screw job? That's what it seems like. That's what it sounds like. That's what it feels like. All right, everyone. It is Thursday. Probably one of the most unheralded days of the week. Thursday. Even Tuesday got a reprieve by being named Taco Tuesday. Nobody likes Monday. That's just the way it is. Wednesday got, hump day. And everyone says, thank God it's Friday. But Thursday, no love for Thursday, except tomorrow's Friday. Anyways, we got Uman back. He made it back from the deep south. I made it back before him, but he made it back. He made it back. Jolene is back. We're all here at the Prepared Mind channel, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Your questions. What do you want to talk about? Folks, I'm going to talk about World War III and all the shit they're starting. I just talked about Kissinger, who's over there sucking up to China, hoping he can mend a few fences. Meanwhile, what is Biden doing? Well, I don't know if anyone knows, especially Biden, what Biden is doing. But over in Ukraine, guess what? They're threatening to retaliate against Russian ships, against any ships, as long as they sail into ports in Russia. That means Crimea, Sebastopol. That's right, on the Black Sea, that sea that both Ukraine and Russia share a border on. Folks, Ukraine is getting their ass kicked in this war. So what do? They threaten any ships that go into Russia to get food, to get wheat. What are they doing, folks? They're threatening the world with food prices and starvation. That's right, folks. The European Union people are being threatened yet again because of military action in Ukraine. That's right. We had the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines destroyed by highly technical demolition terrorism that was done with and for the benefit of Ukraine, as well as what appears to be United States government operatives, British operatives, and even Sweden was applauding it along with Poland. But the people have paid a massive price increase for energy, and now it looks like they may pay a higher price for food. Already, folks, wheat prices, jumped because Ukraine wants to threaten everyone. Any ships go to Russian ports? Yeah, we're going to retaliate against you. Who is Ukraine hurting? Russia? They aren't hurting Russia. Once Russia sells the wheat to any company, any country, and it goes onto their ship and it sails out into the Black Sea, if Ukraine sinks it, who are they hurting? They're not hurting Russia. Russia got paid. And by threatening these other countries and these other tanker ships that are delivering food to Europe and third world starving countries, who benefits by these higher prices from the threats? Once again, Russia benefits. Just like by screwing up the oil, that did nothing to Russia except raise oil prices, raise energy prices, and make Russia more money for doing less work. Now Russia is going to get more money because the world gets less food. Who is Ukraine hurting? What is Ukraine causing? They're hurting the people of the world, and they're causing inflation. Fuck Zelensky and anyone who supports him, and any government agency or government body that supports him. And that includes Joe Biden, who just gave them, I think, another $1.3 billion. Is there any stopping these freaks, these intellectual savants? They're idiot savants at that. Folks, it is on. It is going to get nasty. And it's not just countries, folks. It isn't. No, it's countries, it's religions, it's peoples, it's cultures. You want more World War III potentials, you say? You haven't had enough? You want more SHTF? You want more reasons why you need to have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense? I'll give them to you. Belarus, that's right, the country to the north of Ukraine, the strong military ally of Russia. In fact, they're such a strong military ally that Russia has provided nuclear weapons to Belarus. That's right. Nuclear weapons have gone to Belarus. Well, gee whiz, how about that? Well, Belarus, the military, is now going to have joint exercises, training with the Russian private military contractor, Wagner. And guess what? That's right. They're going to be right on Poland's border. And Poland is a NATO country. They're a NATO member. More World War III potentials, you bet. And if they wanted to use Ukraine to try some sort of flanking pincher movement against Belarus and try cutting them off, Ukraine couldn't stop Belarus if it wanted, folks. Ukraine has been neutered. They've had their youth decimated. At the very least, 1/10 of their country's youth are toast. They've shown that they're either poor fighters, regardless of their patriotic fervor, because they're poorly trained, poorly equipped. Where has the over $100 billion gone? World War III potentials, folks. Never mind Xi Jinping. Never mind Hunter, who's as dumb as a dog. What are they doing in Russia to push this war? Right? We got training up there by Poland. That's right. They're up by Poland, but they're also north of Ukraine. It's Wagner. I thought Wagner was revolting. I thought Wagner was going to take over Russia in a coup d'etat. I thought the CIA had bought off Prigozhin, and they was going in. They were going to get rid of Putin. Right, and then wrong. Not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. But this is what's going on, folks. You want World War III? You want death, destruction, mayhem? I don't, and I know you don't. But they're doing it now. Ukraine is now using cluster bombs to attack Russian forces. That's right, folks. These are U.S. supplied bombs, weapons. They're banned, folks. These weapons are banned in over 120 countries. And did you know that the Biden regime, that's right, folks, the Biden regime just last year condemned anyone who uses cluster bombs. That's right, folks. A year ago, Jen Psaki, remember circle back dumbass Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, looked like Peppermint Patty on communist steroids? She said Russia's alleged use of cluster bombs could be a war crime. It could be a war crime. Folks, the Biden regime, the Democrats in Washington, D.C. are a bunch of hypocrites and liars, and they take us as fools, and we're not. I truly wish that these people had to go out in public and face us and be literally spanked for being a bunch of turds, because they are funny. It is. I find a very sad type of humor in what's going on. How can Ukraine use these same weapons against Russians, Russian military, and, well, hell, Russian civilians? How can they use it and it's just fine? Recall, folks, Ukraine government officials said killing Russians anywhere and everywhere is good. They didn't make a distinction between Russian politicians and Russian civilians. A variety of Ukraine government bastards didn't make a distinction between the military and civilian population, between leadership and the civilian population. They said that killing Russians anywhere and everywhere is good. In fact, I think Lindsey Graham said that was the best money the U.S. has ever spent. Folks, civilians don't get any leeway in this war if you're Russian. But we were told, you use cluster bombs and you're a war criminal, Putin. But here we go. The U.S. gives weapons that 120 different countries say, we don't like them. They're outlawed. They're bad. They're evil. It's not war. It's something far worse. And the U.S. says, no, fuck it. We're gonna give them to a country that has Nazi brigades, that has Nazi battalions. That's right. The Azov battalion is Nazi, folks. It's not just a name. It's not just a joke. They wear the swastika. It's on their bodies. It's on their necks. It's on their uniforms. It's on their equipment. It's on their flags. They're Nazis. And we're giving Nazis cluster bombs. We, not me, not you, not we, the American people. The American, no, it's not even the American government. The United States government. I talked about them the other day. The United States is a fly speck on the map. It's not a state. It's not a country. It's an organization that is supposed to represent the 50 states to other countries. It's supposed to be our spokesman to other countries. It's supposed to work on treaties and imports and export duties, tariffs, taxes, for dealing with other countries. It is a tiny little piece of shit on the map. Yet what is it doing? It's giving weapons to people. Dangerous weapons, reviled, rejected weapons because they're nasty. And they're giving them to a bunch of Nazis who don't have any problem killing civilians. In fact, they find it to be quite refreshing. There's going to come a time, folks. Are you prepared for it? Truly, are you prepared? You should. You should be very prepared. You need to be as prepared for it as that German woman who dragged an environmental wacko out of the street by her hair, not once, but twice. I'd like to meet that German woman and buy her a big Stein of beer. That'd be fun to meet her and see what the hell was going through her head. Literally just walked by, grabbed a handful of hair, and drug a woman out of the street. Hilarious. You want to know why? It hurts really bad. And so that woman, rather than sitting there like a piece of dead meat, I'm sure that's what her boyfriends think of her as well. She probably scooched along the ground on her butt with her hands and her feet, trying to help out and get the hell out of the way so her hair would quit getting yanked around. There's just not enough, folks, that can be done to these morons. And there is no helping them. There really isn't. I mean, I want to give you an example. Rosa DeLauro. Sounds like she could be a nice person. Rosa DeLauro. I went down and had tea yesterday with Rosa DeLauro. No, you will not. Because she is a Democrat representative. And she is a complete idiot. And during a committee hearing, she said Republicans are terrorists. What was their crime? Disagreeing with her. That's right, folks. You disagree with them, you're a terrorist. That's correct. Disagreeing with is a terrorist. Folks, oh, you think, well, that's just the elected government. What about the bureaucracy? That's right, folks. The Defense Department says trans soldiers on hormone, well, they can skip deployments because they're on hormone therapy. So that's how we have operational readiness, by bringing people in the military, training them, giving them trans hormones, because that's why they're in the military, is for the government to pay for their transitioning, cutting their weenies off, which I'm glad. Every Democrat out there, please go cut off your genitals, sterilize yourself, please. Do it now. I mean, who's going to disagree with that? Does anyone in this audience want to disagree with what I said? No one wants to agree with that, or rather disagree with me. Are we all in accord? If you're a Democrat, go castrate yourself. If you're a Democrat, go sterilize yourself. If you're a Democrat, go take lots of hormones to screw your body up. And while you're at it, why don't you get shot up with the Jim Jones juice about 30 frickin' times? Hasta la vista, pasta del fuego. You're done. Anyways, yeah, the Department of Defense, that's the Pentagon, folks. That's the military. Trans soldiers can skip deployments if you're on hormone therapy. And abortion, remember, John Kirby came out and said the abortion helps with operational readiness. That's right. We got to keep the troops ready by giving them abortions every 5 minutes. That'll scare the enemy. It really is unfucking believable. Unbelievable what's going on. Are you prepared? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? I want you to go to thepreparedmind.club and see what we have pointed out there as things that you might need to get prepared. We don't have a store. We don't have a warehouse. We don't have an online store. What we have is an array of things that you can push the button and go look at and buy if you need them. Right? At one point, we had an Amazon store, but Amazon decided they didn't like us. And so they screwed us. They took that away from us. So this is about all we can do now, is point you to companies that we approve of, because we've tried their products, we bought their products, we use their products. And folks, I'm doing my best to find all of the woke products and kick them the fuck out and let you know, yes, we need to boycott them. That's right, folks, boycott them. Interestingly, over in the United Kingdom, an amusement park there is no longer going to host Pride events. I guess they like having people come there, unlike Disney, which continues to have Pride events and Pride movies like The Little Mermaid. And the Barbie movie, by the way, is going to fail miserably. That's right, it is a bunch of woke, anti-man, anti-woman. It's not just penis haters, it's wife haters, woman haters, mom haters. Anyways, this amusement park over in the UK, over there with all of our good buddies. You got Mick and we got Stephen Conlon, we got Vince Boyle. They're no longer going to host these Pride events because a drag queen simulated sexual acts in front of children. Well, here over in America, that'll get you a promotion. Hell, that'll get you a raise. That'll get you the high seat at the Pride Parade. Well, it's time to get this fixed, folks. It really is. It's time to get it fixed. And I want everyone to remember, we're not done with this shit. That's right, Democrats. Remember, there's always more than castrating yourself and sterilizing yourself. You can go get the Jim Jones juice and just take yourself right out of the gene pool and stop consuming air. That's right. If you want to make the planet a better place, Democrats, go get yourself some Jim Jones juice. Folks, get this, a CBS meteorologist, an Emmy award-winning meteorologist, How do you, isn't getting an Emmy being an actor? Am I acting here or am I just talking to you? I guess meteorologists need to act. Well, this award-winning meteorologist is acting dead. That's right, died suddenly at age 51. Attractive, oh yeah. Youthful looking, yes. Energetic, an award winner, dead. Take a wild freaking guess why. For me, no guess needed. I know right the hell what's going on. I really do. These people are complete idiots, though, folks. They're complete idiots. I mean, did you hear about Marge Taylor Greene in Congress? You know what she did? She brought pictures of Hunter Biden. That's right, pictures that were a bit too revealing. She brought pictures of Hunter Biden into Congress to show the congressional body, to discuss in committee what a lech he is and a criminal. And did you know that every adult in that room that's a Democrat was abhorred? They were completely taken aback. They were disgusted and said, this is wrong. You can't do this. You can't have pictures of Hunter Biden half naked in front of adults. Yet these same fucking people, folks, these same Democrats and their constituents and the teachers unions all think it's fine to show adults and children together and children together committing pornographic acts, sex acts on one another. They think that's fine in schools, but don't you dare bring in a picture of Hunter Biden committing crimes while he's naked. That's how fucked up and backwards this whole thing is, folks. Congress can't handle it, but your children, our grandchildren, they need to see this crap in school. There's something wrong, folks. There's something wrong. I can't handle it. These people are nuts. And I'm going to wrap up my monologue by talking to you about banking. It's not just a problem in America, folks. It's an international issue. Now, everyone should know who Nigel Farage is, right? He is the former United Kingdom Independence Party, the UKIP, and he was also the leader of the Brexit Party, Nigel Farage. Well, if you remember this guy, he said the leader of the EU, the European Union, looked like a banker in a cheap suit, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And then Nigel Farage went on to apologize to cheap suits. This is a few years ago. Anyways, folks, get this. The bank called Coutts, C-O-U-T-T-S, they have debanked Nigel. And Coutts, folks, is like a Mercedes-Benz bank. It's not like a Ford or a Toyota or a Chevy bank. It's like a Jaguar bank. It's very ritzy. It is. But because he has conservative views, they closed his bank accounts. Right. Farage last month started talking about his difficulties he was having with them and that he was having trouble opening other banks, other accounts in banks, right? He had been with Coutts for almost a decade, but they closed his accounts because, well, his attitude and his opinions didn't fall in alignment, in agreement with the bank's belief system. So now did you know that banks have belief systems? That's right, folks. Understand this. Corporations not only get to exist and have special privileges from the government, they get to call themselves persons. That's right, folks. A corporation, whether it's a manufacturer, a mine, or a bank, they're corporate persons, and therefore they're allowed to contribute money to politicians. And now they're allowed to have opinions. That's right. Corporations can have opinions and belief systems and values. corporate values. And if your corporate values don't fall in line with the corporation, the bank, then they can close your account. They can close your account. Isn't that just fascinating? Folks, boycott all socialists. Boycott all globalists. You have to. It is a war. It's a literal war right now. It's a social war. It's financial. It's economic. It's monetary. And it's in your faces. Right now, you're probably like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm not saying much, but John is saying all kinds of shit. Right? Tucker Carlson, you wait. He'll be next. They're going to go after him. Anyone, folks, they don't like, they're going to attack. So what choice do you have? Well, let me ask you this. If a Chinese soldier came over to America, walked down your street, walked up to your porch, knocked on your door, and you answered, and they slapped you in the face, would you take that shit from an international piece of crap soldier? Or would you say, you know what, not in America, Jack. You don't get to walk into my country and slap me. That's the same as a corporation, folks, saying, we don't like you, American. We don't like you being free and saying what you want and being free. We're going to slap you. We're going to make your life harder. Right? Well, what if this Chinese soldier walked down the street, stood in the street, and started shooting at your house with a rifle? What would the appropriate response be? That's right. You would act in kind. And I don't mean kind like being nice. You would act in the same fashion. These banks, these corporations, these food companies, these manufacturers, these miners, all of these companies out here, retail outlets like Target, Kohl's, they want to screw you over, and they are. So why are you giving them your money? Good question, isn't it? I tell you what, we're going to do this. We're going to switcheroo, and I don't mean that in a trans kind of way. Oh, no trans kind of way. But we are going to change over to the inner circle. Thank you again, Mr. T, for all the great transitions, intros, outros, and everything else. Yes, here we are, folks. We're engaged in SHTF in every form and fashion possible. They're just not shooting at us with bullets. Not yet. Not yet. All right, man. Jolene has lost her internet, so you're in charge, good buddy. Uman's doing good. I think he's got all 10 fingers, all 10 toes, and he's got power and internet. Let's do this. Let's see what you guys want to talk about. It's Thursday. We've been through a rough week here. And Name Reacted says, still chaps my ass that you literally have to go online to find like-minded people and alert the feds that you notice there's a fucking problem. Yep. That's right, folks. This is the best way to do it. I want them to know who I am. I want them to know who we are. And I want them to know how many of us there are. The federal government, the state government, and even the local governments are scared to death of us. It's time to stop being afraid of them. They're afraid of us, folks. Truly afraid of us. We outnumber them 1,000 to 1. We outgun them 100 to 1. We have every right to say that they are our servants, and we have every right to force them to serve us or fire them. We have every right to do all of those things. It's right there in the Declaration of Independence. It's right there, folks. They can be fired in an instant. It's our country. And that's why they are afraid of us. That's why they use, folks, they use fake laws and try and convince you they're real laws. They use chicken shit fake courts, just like they're using on Trump, to try and scare us into submission. They use propaganda, not just in the news and their bullshit news conferences coming out of the White House press secretary zone, right? With Karine Jean-Pierre, idiot mouthpiece, or John Kirby, dipshit galore, or Jake the Snake Sullivan, total scumbag, right? They use propaganda in television commercials, television shows, Hollyweird, everything, plus schools, billboards, radio. And so, yeah, we have to come here, name redacted. We have to come here. That's how they play their games. They make us come here, and then they can watch and listen and learn. And they need to hear from all of us. So if you're silent, guess what? They're not afraid of you. If you're loud, they're more afraid of you because they know you are getting out and reaching out and affecting things. You're talking to other people. You're letting people know you have rights, that everyone has rights, and we have a right to speak. You don't have a right to sit in traffic, though, and block traffic. In that case, I think you have the right to be drug off by your hair by a large German woman. All right. Thank you, name redacted. Let's see what else is out there in the wide world of what the fuck is going on. And, oh goodness, folks, it's Orlando checking in. And he's got a question for us. Yes, he does. He says, what if? And Orlando sent this to me earlier today and said, John, what if? What if? What if all of the weapons and money sent to Ukraine were for a planned assault on the United States, our country? What if that was done by communist nations? And there was a combined effort between Ukraine, Russia. Is this devastating war against Ukraine a ploy? Or is it potentially Red Dawn? In other words, they've sent all of our stuff over there. And the United States military and Joe Biden are like, yeah, we're running low on ammo. We're running low on artillery. We sent a bunch of tanks over there. We sent a bunch of helicopters over there. We've sent cluster bombs over to Ukraine. What if this is a big trick, folks? We've seen carloads, van loads, truckloads of U.S. weapons not going to the front line to fight the Russians, but being turned around and shipped into Europe, down into the Orient, down into Africa, and yes, they've even made their way over to the Americas. I'm sure American weapons are in South America, Central America. They've even shown up in Mexico. Shoulder-fired Stinger missiles in Mexico in the hands of drug lords. Do you think for a second it's not possible? Not possible that Ukraine could turn on the U.S.? That they could be joined by China or Russia or Turkey and use all those weapons to try and take America, while our military, which is short on ammunition, short on artillery, short on everything, and they've been doing this for over a year and they haven't turned up the manufacturing process. We're short on everything while half the military is busy with its hand in its pants trying to figure out what its frickin' gender is. And the other half, folks, doesn't know what to do because they can't stand looking at the fucking half that doesn't know what gender it is while they're busy cutting their penises off. You think our enemies fear us, or do you think they're just going, yeah, their time's going to come? But I'll tell you what, I know, Orlando, it's possible. I know it's something we need to consider and think about. What are we doing? We're arming other countries that potentially hate us. You think for a second Zelensky loves America? He is a runt of a turd, right? He looks like something that a bull left behind in a pasture. He is a small little turd. He is someone else's little backroom boy toy. You think he really loves America, values and appreciates it? Or do you think he's just a stooge and a puppet who probably is angry that all of his masters have taken advantage of his derriere? I guarantee it, folks. But, right, I won't discount that it's impossible, but I would say, Orlando, it's a long shot. But we need to consider that, yeah, our country is being weakened by the Biden administration, that our military is being torn to pieces. They have communists graduating West Point, stinking, filthy communists. And I look forward to the day when they can be purged out of this country. I have no love for commies, folks, or socialists. All a communist is a socialist in a big hurry. That's the only difference. They all hate America. And I grew up at a time when communist folks would have killed every one of us. And that hasn't changed. They would still kill every one of us. Look at what every trans communist says. Listen to what every Democrat socialist says in White House, in Washington. You think they love you and love our country? No, they don't. They truly don't. It's interesting. We're going to have our hands full. I hope you're prepared. I truly do. I hope you are prepared. Get your comments, questions, thoughts, predictions, prognostications, your historical views, your future prognostications. Get them down below. We're going to talk about it right now. Jolene Uman, who gets to step up next? It is again name redacted, who is enjoying his anonymity some more, which is terrific. You don't have to use your real name, right? I don't have to call you Bihana or Heidi. Don't have to do that. But hey, name redacted said this bullshit could actually lead to Russia being the last standing superpower. Well, here's how it works, folks. China, as a superpower, came into power at the beginning of my lifetime when the United States of America, under Nixon and Henry Kissinger, they are on power here at the White House when they decided to open up China for trade. And we started sending US dollars to China and funding Chinese growth, prosperity, and industry. And look where we're at now for it. What did we get out of the deal? Cheap televisions, cheap clothing. Thanks, China. But China is now a superpower economically, militarily, and they even have nuclear weapons. They're exploring space. They have a high standard of living. We have done nothing but send them wealth. China needs America, folks. China can't survive on its own. China also needs Europe. That's right. America's doing business with China. Europe was too. Can we do without China? Currently, not really. Currently, because they make all of our cheap shit. But China needs us. They're a superpower. Russia, on the other hand, they don't need us. Russia sells its goods to countries that need it, whether it's its grain, its food, or whether it's its energy. It can sell its energy to China. China's just happy enough with theirs. They can sell energy to Japan, India, right? They can sell energy to Africa, South America. Russia can do quite a bit, folks, without the United States. There are lots of starving, hungry people around the world. We don't eat Russian grain here. So someone's buying it. Someone needs Russia. They don't need us, right? Russia could be the last standing superpower. If the US and Europe collapse, China may go with it. China may go with it. So that's a very good point. Russia never lost all of its nuclear weapons. When the Soviet Union collapsed, Russia absorbed them. Precarious times we live in, folks, very much so. Great observation, name redacted. Where are we going next? And it is Heidi with H12 says, this is what she has to say. I remember wondering why they suddenly were trading with China after spending all that time, money, and lives in Vietnam. Wasn't that interesting? Let's do a little flashback, if we shall. Communist aggression from and into North Vietnam led the United States to more closely observe and send observers and trainers, military advisors over to Vietnam. Prior to the U.S.'s entry into the Vietnamese area, so the Southeast China Zone, France had Vietnam as a colony, and they were losing power, losing control as Chinese influence came in. It wasn't Chinese influence, folks, it was communist influence. The communists were coming in, and America and the rest of the world felt that, hey, that's just not a good thing. And that's right, it was Chinese communism. And so we started this war with the communists in Vietnam. What a nasty fucking place to fight a war, folks. You won't catch me lining up to go to Vietnam or Laos or Cambodia. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. No fucking way would I go there of my own free will and accord. Not going to happen. So we were fighting communists in Vietnam after the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which was a false flag and admitted to by the former Secretary of Defense, Robert McNamara, after the year 2000. 45 years later, he admitted to it. Thanks, McNamara, for being honest. Was there an investigation? Did Congress give a shit? Did the media go nuts? No, they just let it fucking slide. The whole Vietnam War over a phony event called the Gulf of Tonkin. Right? But that precipitated the arrival of the U.S. military, and the Army and the Marine Corps went in there and started fighting with these freaking communists who were supplied by and supported by Chinese military hardware. And then Nixon got into power. Right? That war was initiated full scale with Lyndon Baines Johnson, Democrat, who had absolutely nothing to do with John F. Kennedy's assassination. Yeah, right. Anyways, Nixon and Henry Kissinger, we are in control at the White House. That guy cooked up a couple of deals with China. That's right, cooked up some deals with China. Opened up China, and simultaneously the Vietnamese War scaled down. America abandoned Saigon, right, the capital. The communists swarmed Vietnam, like cockroaches. And anyone who had ever opposed the communists were killed, murdered, their families killed, murdered by the Vietnamese communists who were supported by China. Did anyone ever talk about that? Is that last helicopter pulled out of Saigon? Anyone who was left behind, you can bet your ass they died. Probably not in a nice fashion. But yeah, suddenly we're trading with China after the Vietnamese War. I bet everyone wondered, didn't they, Heidi? I didn't learn about that till I was a little older. I was 4 when the Vietnam War ended. Very interesting, huh? Very interesting. All right, folks, let's move on if we shall. Heidi, thank you for taking us back down memory lane. And I'm sincere. Thank you. People need to understand what China is and what communism is, and what the United States government from Washington, D.C., that tiny little piece of shit, with that tiny little piece of shit of the country, not even really our country, what they did and have done to us. They sent our uncles, our fathers, our grandfathers to war to die, just to hand it all back to the fucking commies, just like Joe Biden did with Afghanistan. How much blood, sweat, and tears, American capital, taxpayer dollars, our allies, and the Afghan people fought to try and create freedom there. It was all a money scam. Michael Brown tossed a $10 bill right into, pow, swish, all net into the Prepared Mind coffers, right? To get the fuck back and stay back fund. Thank you, Michael Brown. I appreciate it, man. So he's done 2 super chat donations live today. I really appreciate it, man. Takes care of business. It truly does. Everything at this time helps, folks. Thank you, Michael. Okay, Jolene, man, we got, 8 minutes plus left in the show today. Tomorrow, and I said yesterday that today was the Free-for-All Friday. It's not. My mistake. I got ahead of myself. That's being optimistic, folks. It truly is. That's being optimistic. It'll be Free-for-All Friday tomorrow. Today is No Name Thursday. It's just a big Thursday. Anyways, thank you, Michael. Jolene, man, where are we going? There we are, right there. 1 second, quick message. Name redacted says, John, the cult cabal has a new concept and term. It's called corporate purpose. Oh, what a beautiful thing. Corporate purpose. That's right. A corporation can have an agenda, a purpose. Purpose sounds so much nicer than agenda. Well, we all have a purpose in life, right? We're supposed to. It seems like my purpose and your purpose just might be to work our asses off and pay taxes. Never get ahead. But a corporation, they get a big fat juicy profit and they can spend it not how the corporation wants, because the corporation, folks, truly doesn't have a conscience. The corporation and its purpose are determined by, those in charge. Is it the board of directors or is it the CEO? Or is it a combination of both, the corporate executives and the board of directors? And they have a purpose. And now their purpose doesn't have to be to get a profit. Because if it was, Jack Dorsey and Twitter would have their asses in prison for squandering billions of dollars by ruining their profit margins by having a purpose, an agenda, which is the woke agenda. Same with Budweiser. Their corporate purpose is to insult the shit out of us and destroy their own company and label in order to push transgenderism and pride and LGBTQ bullshit. It's about as funny as rubbing a cheese grater on your ass and then sitting in a bowl of salt and lemon juice. I just think that's a great way for Hillary and Bill Clinton and the Obamas to spend their days, the rest of their lives. Cheese grater, salt and lemon juice. Have at it, you assholes. Anyways, corporate purpose. A corporation is supposed to have a purpose, folks, that to justify its existence and its privilege. A corporation which owes its life, its existence to the people, should have to serve them. And now corporations serve themselves. Their purpose is whatever they want it to be. It's not to make the public, the country, a better place. Believe it or not, folks, that's exactly what corporations used to be. They used to be required to do some good for the public. Now the corporate purpose is a political agenda. And it's certainly one that I don't think anyone agrees is good for you, me, or America. Okay, very well. Thank you, Name Redacted, for bringing that painful subject up. And it is a cult cabal. It truly is. All right, Oliver, where are we at, man? Oliver says Charles Gentry has something to say. Maybe the war in Ukraine is being used to delete our strategic reserves and supplies to set us up for a red dawn, combined with civil unrest, wouldn't have to EMP us and destroy that infrastructure. Well, you see, that's just it. World War I and World War II involved old style military thinking. You roll in your tanks, you roll in your artillery, you crush the enemy in front of you, you drive them before you, and you bomb the living shit out of them as they run away. You destroy cities, bridges, infrastructure. And then they realized after World War II, this shit's really expensive. We got to rebuild roads, bridges, buildings, cities, businesses, power lines, sewer, water, dams. The people are all dead. So how do we conduct war without causing all of this loss? It's okay to kill people. You can always bury them. But we want to leave the roads and bridges intact. So the object of war today, folks, is not to blow up things and kill people. Well, you can kill people. But the objective is to take control of something without destroying it. So how do you take control of America and its resources without destroying the infrastructure? The homes, the buildings, the roads, the bridges, the farms, the mines, the factories. Not just America, any country. So they want to take it over from within by destroying the government structure, destroying the country's morality, destroying, that's right, the legitimate government infrastructure. And that's what they're doing. The government infrastructure is based on a piece of paper. It obeys the piece of paper, the paper that gets, well, handed down by a judge, the piece of paper that comes out of Congress, the piece of paper issued from the desk of the president. That's a cheap way to win a war, printing some paper and people going, I must obey the paper. Folks, they look at our Constitution and say, it's just a piece of paper. But when they pass a law, oh, you better look out. When they say something and it gets written down, you better obey. You better pay your tax. You better fall in line. You better shut the fuck up. They don't like you having real things, folks. That's why they've even taken away your paper money. They don't even want you to have paper. They want to do it electronically. They want you to look at your phone and go, okay, do what your phone says. That little electronic message, that little electronic money, you bet. Don't worry though, folks. They have creative ways to do things. Well, did you know that in Baghdad, because some Swedish people burned some paper, now the Baghdadis, the Iraqis folks, are burning the Swedish embassy. We need to understand our enemies. We have enemies in the government. We have enemies around the world. We have religious enemies, social enemies, moral enemies. And one way or the other, they all want to take over. Do you think the Muslims don't want to take over Europe and America? Do you think the Chinese don't want to take over Europe and America? They do. They have different means and methods, but that is their goal. That's their agenda. You think these corporations don't want to control, own, operate, and benefit, that is to say profit, in America and Europe? Of course they do. They want to do it all around the world, though. You, my friends, stand in the way. You stand in the way because you believe in freedom, liberty, and some nice pieces of paper that tell all humanity you have rights. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Learn your Constitution, read the Declaration, and get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, your plan, your life, it's your world. Prep to action. I'll see you 0 dark 30.